exactly how we got here, and honestly, what it's really costing us.
But here's the stark truth. You are living in a social hallucination. Seriously. That perfect synchronization you feel right now, it's a complete fabrication. The modern concept of time, the very thing that dictated exactly when you woke up this morning and when you'll go to sleep tonight, it isn't some fundamental, unchangeable rule of the universe. It is literally an agreed-upon illusion. It's just a constructed reality that we've all simply accepted as fact.
See, before the mid-19th century, humanity lived under what we can call solar truth. Basically, every single town in the world set its own time based entirely on the sun. It was local, it was natural, and it was beautifully messy. I mean, if you traveled just 30 miles down the road, your pocket watch would actually be wrong. Time was this chaotic, fragmented mess of local sundial approximations. But today, we live under the banner of industrial efficiency, perfect, rigid, rhythmic synchronization.
So what changed all that? What could possibly be powerful enough to completely overthrow the absolute authority of the sun? I want you to think about that for a second. Humanity looked up at the sky for thousands of years to know when to work, when to eat, and when to rest. What kind of historical force just steps in and completely overwrites the basic rhythm of the planet?
Well, the answer is the arrival of the train. Steam engines, they really didn't care about the position of the sun in the sky. A locomotive barreling down a track doesn't care if it's noon in one town and 12:05 in the next. What do they care about? Collisions. When towns are operating on dozens of slightly different local times, scheduling two massive metal machines moving towards each other on the exact same track, that becomes a literal matter of life and death.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the number 4, because that single, powerful number changed absolutely everything. In 1883, the American railroad companies simply took control of your reality. They desperately needed strict order to stop the crashes, so they forced the adoption of standard time. Literally, with the stroke of a pen, they chopped the entire North American continent into 4 uniform slices. They effectively looked up at the sky and told the sun, hey, you are no longer in charge.
And the sheer speed of this whole historical transformation is staggering. I mean, for most of human history, pre-19th century, we had the local sundial, then bam, 1883 hits, standard time arrives for the trains. And in the blink of a historical eye, we land in the modern day, completely governed by the relentless digital pulse of our phones. We traded the natural, gradual flow of light across the sky for the rigid, unforgiving precision of the tick-tock. The escalation of our compliance to the clock has been breathtakingly fast.
To really grasp what this means internally, consider the work of researcher Clark Blaze. He hit the nail on the head when he explained how this shift fundamentally severed our connection to the horizon. We essentially sacrificed solar truth for industrial efficiency. Just think about your own morning routine. We no longer wake with the gentle dawn. We wake with the jarring buzzer of an alarm. We don't rest with the quiet dusk. We rest only when the clock on the wall says it's acceptable to do so.
And honestly, this is the true tyranny of the clock. We were once children of the earth, governed by shadows and natural events. Now, we are children of the watch, governed entirely by numbers. We've totally transformed from creatures attuned to the natural world into literal cogs in a synchronized global machine. Your life is no longer a fluid sequence of meaningful events. It's been chopped up into a rigid sequence of time slots.
Which leads us to the psychological fallout, what we can call the ghost in the gears. Every single second you spend is now tracked, measured, and sold. We have internalized the clock so deeply that it literally runs inside our heads all day long. Think about it. Why do we feel that sudden spike of panic when we're just 5 minutes behind schedule? We fear being late because in an industrial machine, a part that doesn't run on time is broken. We are terrified of being perceived as broken gears.
And that brings a really serious question to the forefront. Why do we let machines dictate the rhythm of our biological hearts? We've totally mastered time on paper, but we have completely lost the ability to actually live in it. And the toll isn't just in our stressed out minds. It's happening right now in our cells, in our blood, and deep within our bodies.
So the crucial point here is that the biological cost is massive. Studies show severe cortisol spikes when we fight our natural sleep cycles just to meet some arbitrary alarm. We are essentially forcing a naturally nocturnal species to be diurnal. We're living in a state of permanent jet lag, fighting millions of years of evolutionary biology just to get to a desk by exactly 9 a.m.
And the system, well, it demands total participation. Let's just trace this relentless march of technological control.
Step 1. The train required total compliance to keep the schedules. Step 2. The factory built right upon that foundation, requiring total compliance to keep the assembly lines moving. Step 3. Now, your smartphone requires total compliance. We are fully tethered to a relentless, unblinking digital pulse that demands our constant attention.
Obsolete. That is literally what the machine considers you if you stop moving to its digital pulse. If you've ever felt the crushing weight of modern burnout, well, this is exactly why. It feels absolutely terrifying to just stop, to take a breath, in a system that was specifically engineered for endless, unyielding efficiency. You aren't supposed to stop, because trains aren't supposed to stop.
I want you to imagine, just for a moment, a world without the rigid grid of hours. Imagine a world defined simply by the length of your shadow. That was the infinite. But we traded the infinite for the finite. We literally took eternity and we sliced it into little, manageable pieces of plastic and metal strapped to our wrists. We sacrificed something profoundly vast and natural just so the trains would run on time.
But here's the crazy part. It is such a fragile illusion. Like what happens when you turn the machine off? One massive power failure, one grid collapse, and the ghost in the gears instantly disappears. The silence would be deafening. The panic, it would be instantaneous. Because without those digital numbers glowing back at us, we suddenly realize we have entirely forgotten how to exist without the measurement. The whole framework of our reality would just vanish into the dark.
So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Does the clock serve us, or do we serve the clock? By now, you should understand that the time you see on your phone is a fragile illusion. Next time you flip that switch or set your morning alarm, just remember, time is not a force of nature. It's the cage we built to keep the chaos of the train from crashing. Ask yourself who's really in charge. Thanks for exploring this source material with me today in our explainer.